how can we not look at Impala? This share just flew and skyrocketed to higher levels. But we can see for the week of the 18th of March 2019 as well as the 25th of March, the share has found resistance around 67.87. And if we go back around September 2016, we can see that the share also found resistance around the same levels. So the share has to change this level of 69.35, that high of the 18th of March, into a support in order to sustain the momentum to the top. The strong support level that was found around 57.08 was tested a couple of times in the last month or two. And if the share changes that level into a resistance, the first bell and the first warning for Impala will be on the cards. We can see there's a big window waiting there between 39 Rand 75 and 41 Rand 24. And we know windows always gets closed. It can take weeks, days, months, or years. But at some stage, Impala will have to close that window. There is also some higher windows up on the daily graphs on Impala that investors can use as a resistance or target levels for Impala. But we can see this range between 72 Rand 35 and there's 60 Rand 30 is a strong range that the share has to change into a support in order to sustain the momentum to the top. Platinum. We cannot look at Impala and not look at the platinum price. And as I've said previously, that descending channel on the platinum price, when it was confirmed that the commodity price just flew, and that target around $975 is still on the cards. That beautiful red 40-week moving average was also changed into a support, and hopefully that moving average will support and sustain the momentum to the top as the commodity price reach for higher levels. I also want to look at the gold price because we've previously mentioned that $1,375 is a strong resistance level that needs to change into a support for the gold price to continue to the momentum to the top. But hey, I want to highlight this inverse head and shoulder formation with the possible that it's a left shoulder, a head, found resistance on that neckline, and a right shoulder might be in the making. But the positivity or the optimism around this formation will only be confirmed when this neckline of the commodity price change into a support, and that is waiting there around $1,322. And if that level can remain a support on a weekly graph, in other words on a Friday close, the target of this head of this inverse head and shoulder formation can take the commodity price through that 1,357 level back to around 1,470 level. When will the optimism or the positivity around this formation be wiped off the table? When the commodity price starts to consolidate below $1,280. So that is a critical level to remain a support in order for the momentum to the top to continue. This is a nice inverse head and shoulder formation. It's going to be interesting to keep an eye on it and to see how it plays out. Sasol. It's really fighting that 40-week moving average. And every time the share price gets there, it just seems that it can't keep it a support, and that is negative. We've mentioned many times that the possible head and shoulder formation on Sasol is a concern. There was a false break. But the share has to change this level into a support in order for the momentum to the top to continue. If this level changes into a resistance and the share retraces and changes this neckline into a resistance, this Sasol price can really look ugly if that head and shoulder formation plays out. The 40-week moving average is waiting at 470 Rand 88, and the share has to change that level into a support in order for the momentum to the top to continue. My stochastic indicator that I've used here to highlight overbought or oversold levels is clearly in overbought territory. But that blue line has not crossed through my shorter red moving average yet. So my stochastic has not confirmed the divergence yet. Yes, the shorter moving average is clearly showing that it might be losing steam, but it hasn't broken yet. Look at that 40-week moving average, look at that stochastic, and make sure that you make informed decisions when you decide what to do with Sasol. Billiton. Interesting, a beautiful, well, not beautiful, beautiful in technical terms, ugly in share terms. Tweezer top is forming on Billiton. And what is a tweezer top? A tweezer top, I want to just zoom this out for our viewers. A tweezer top is a level consecutive for two, and this is a weekly graph, for 2 consecutive weeks, the share has found strong resistance there around 359 Rand 47. And there I've got 2 long upper shadows on both candles. Now, we're still sitting in the middle of the week. This is not for a Friday close yet. So it will be interesting to see how this candle closes on Friday. And if that long upper shadow is still in play and the share changes this level of 349 Rand 77 into a resistance, this tweezer top will be confirmed. And a tweezer top is a warning formation, highlighting to investors that, hey, the selling pressure is picking up. Investors are taking profit and maybe you should too. My stochastic indicator is still pointing upwards. There's no sign it's in overbought territory, hasn't crossed one another yet. So it might still say that, hey, there's still a little bit of upside there, but this tweezer top is saying, be careful, maybe the share just wants to take a breather first and then continue the momentum to the top. Massmart. Kevin wanted us to look at Massmart, and this share has been struggling for a while. But Kevin, a little bit of optimistic news or positive news, your stochastic on the weekly graph has broken upwards, and that is seen as positive. But I would like this share to first change that level of 91 Rand 98 into a support, because we can see that this trend line was clearly a resistance in previous weeks. And then again, I would like the share to change this strong trend line that has kept the momentum to the bottom in place since the 5th of March 2018, change that into a support as well. And obviously that 40-week moving average is critical for long-term investors. And again, look how closely that trend line as well as that 40-week moving average is weighting to one another. So these critical levels around 99 Rand and 98 Rand needs to change into a support on a weekly close for this Massmart graph to look a little bit more optimistic for long-term investors. Woolworths. Yeah, if you look at a graph that much, you can call it Woolies. A possible double bottom might be confirmed this week. If this candle of this week close on Friday above this neckline, waiting at 47 Rand 30, this possible double bottom will be confirmed. And we know double bottoms are positive formations. Share found resistance, retraced, found support there. This support level was almost at the same level of the previous level, and it changed that neckline, that resistance level, into a support. So this is a weekly graph, and if the share can keep that level a support, we can clear with a double bottom will be confirmed, and that will be optimistic for Woolies. But the critical level still remains the 40-week moving average, and that is waiting at 50 Rand 60. I've got a beautiful divergence on my stochastic. It's broken upwards and it's pointing upwards. The double bottom formation will be confirmed on a Friday close if it remains above that 47 Rand 32 level. And then the target is the 40-week moving average, and then the strong resistance line that I've drawn in here that has kept the momentum to the bottom in place since the 26th of February 2018. Hopefully, this is the turnaround pattern that is going to take Woolworths to higher levels. Kuro Holdings. Also a share that's coming from a very low base. But look at this positive descending channel. It's tested this graph, this upper band of the descending channel a couple of times. And we will confirm, and the optimism around this formation will be confirmed when the share can change this upper band waiting at 26 Rand 36 into a support. And interesting enough, look how closely that 40-week moving average, that red line, is waiting to that upper band, and that red line is waiting at 26 Rand 87. If the share can change 26.87 and this upper band of the descending channel into a support, the target of Kuro Holdings is the width of the channel projected upwards from the upper band once it is confirmed. And that can take the share to around 36 Rand 54. But how do we know that the formation will be confirmed? There's a couple of things that you can do to make sure and wait for the confirmation, because we can see that this upper band was tested a couple of times and the share could not change it into a support. Yes, my stochastic is pointing upwards and it's confirmed a possible optimism and buy, but the confirmation will be on that upper band on the descending channel. Amazon. The reason why I want to look at Amazon again is because we've previously spoken about the head and shoulder formation, and the negativity and the pessimism around that head and shoulder formation was wiped off the table when this right shoulder, either this line or this upper band, even if you can take it higher to that level around $1,775, when that changed into a support. Now, interesting enough, when a right shoulder, sometimes it makes a ascending triangle or a symmetrical triangle, or in this case, even an inverse head and shoulder formation. So when that neckline there was changed into a support, the share reached for higher levels. However, Amazon is trading in overbought levels. And this is a strong possible left shoulder and right shoulder, and maybe multiple right shoulders. If the share cannot continue the momentum to the top and change this head waiting at $2,053 into a support, and it loses momentum here, I want to say that this possible head and shoulder formation might come back into play, but it will only be confirmed when that neckline changes into a resistance. So if I can project the share price, maybe if it changes that neckline waiting there around $1,650 into a support, only then will I be negative around Amazon again. Keep in mind, the share did change that 40-week moving average into a support, and that is a strong line in the sand. That is a strong benchmark indicator to keep on a weekly graph to say above it, the long-term sentiment towards the share will remain positive, and only below it will investors, long-term investors, become concerned and a little bit negative about the share. Boeing. They have been all over the news lately because of crashes and faulty engines. And interesting enough, that 40-week moving average for the last 5 weeks was tested every time, and the share managed to keep it a support. And that is waiting around $361. But $361 has to remain a support for the momentum to the top to continue. And interesting enough, this strong trend line that I've drawn in here is waiting very closely to the 40-week moving average. And this trend line is waiting at $356. So I would be careful about Boeing. Yes, it's not overbought yet, but we can see that this blue line on the stochastic wanted to break upwards, couldn't find enough momentum and support, and broken downwards. And that is negative. Below the 40-week moving average, I would be concerned about the Boeing share price, and especially below that trend line that has kept the momentum to the top in place since January 2018. This might be a share that, if you own it, might want to consider taking profit. For any more news and requests of what we discuss, please feel free to visit our website at www.fransklerk.com. Cheers.